Hello everybody, my name's Atley. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to my SnowRunner hard mode playthrough. I am in Big Salmon Peak in the Yukon map, and we are continuing on from the big progress in Big Salmon Peak episode. So this is going to be episode 20 of Yukon. In the last episode we moved quite a lot of cargo around. We got some containers moved to be able to make some cabins. We got a couple of things to finish up, and then I hope today that we should finish the factory contracts, all three of them. In between the two episodes, 19 and 20, so the Monday one and this one, I recorded a special expedition off to the Don region to get the Tatra Force, and it didn't go well. It's fair to say. I ended up with 4 hours of footage. It was a bit of a nightmare for me, and that went live as a video on the Saturday. But it's a special expedition and it doesn't form part of the Yukon series. So I'm trying to explain that because it's complicated to me that I went off to the Don region to get the Tatra Force, and at the time of recording this episode you haven't seen the conclusion, you've only seen part one. But spoiler alert, I went back to Don and I finished that activity and got myself a Tatra Force. Now, that Tatra Force is currently in a Muir, and the less said about that, for now, the better. It's now back in Yukon. So what I've done in a nutshell, and I'm just going to chuck some repair points on it because I think it deserves it. 5,000 for body repair. No, it doesn't deserve that. Let's get out. So there's a couple of things. I'm going to get on with the driving because I can talk while I'm driving. You don't need to listen to me just talking in the garage. But we have got a Tatra Force. Now, the special expeditions are standalone episodes. So, in terms of watching this as they're released, it might seem a bit strange that I'm driving a Tatra Force before you've seen me successfully complete picking it up. What I didn't want to do is basically have a sequence of 2 or 3 or 4 special expeditions and lose track of Yukon. So I've made an executive decision, and I am going to be releasing the special expedition that successfully completed the recovery of this Tatra Force. And there is a spoiler, you guys know now that it worked, but I'm going to be releasing that on the Saturday. So this episode will go live, that I'm recording right now, will go live on the Wednesday. There'll be another one for Friday, and then on Saturday, let's call it Saturdays, the special expedition days for a few weeks. And spoiler alert, the reason it was in a Muir is because it went off to a Muir and did something for me. And you can all guess what it's done. And the fact that it's back here, you can also probably guess that that was a success. So I've got 2 Saturdays worth of special expeditions for you to catch up on, but I'm not going to release them as consecutive special expeditions and miss out on some Yukon content. So I hope that makes sense. And of course, if you're watching this on like catch up, if you're just following the playlist, it won't make any difference because by the time you see this, I will have the playlist in exactly the right order. And then the other thing you will notice, so when I went for the second trip to Don, I went big. I didn't cut any corners, I didn't cut any costs. My money is a little bit strange, but I went big, and that included ending up with a Paystar back here full of fuel. So I've got plenty of fuel on this map because I knew I needed it, and I called that out in the last Yukon episode. So this is episode 20, it follows on from 19. You don't need to worry about anything except for I've now got a Tatra Force, and if you want to know how I got that, the special expedition part 1 is already live, part 2 will be live Saturday, and hopefully that makes sense. Fill that up and build a Tatra Force. So I'm going to be using the Tatra Force, and I've got to say, it was so worth the effort of going and getting this truck. This is my new favourite. I'm not going to be using it in this mode a lot, but it does the Holy Trinity. Crane, cargo, plus it can tow trailers. So I can, with the 4-slot ramped flatbed, I can carry 6 slots of cargo with this. What we're going to do now though is we're going to go off through here, probably through here up, and we're going to get these bricks because that's the last thing needed for the factories, and then it's cabins. So I'm going to basically get the bricks, do the cabins, do the heavy deliveries, and this truck will hopefully make mincemeat of that activity. And then I've got fuel on the map in the form of the Paystar to help me, and I was going to be doing that anyway, so that's the kind of staging to get ready for this episode. So I'm hoping that you followed my explanation of why, to anybody watching these episodes in the release sequence, things will be a bit odd, but I hope you agree that doing a whole week of special expeditions would be a little bit weird. It would take a bit too much time away from Yukon for me. I was itching to get back to Yukon, and the reason I went to Amur is I didn't want to pay to deploy this to Yukon and then pay to deploy it to Amur or the Zix 605 recovery. Engageable, so we've got to make sure I put the all-wheel drive on. This is such a capable truck. Something else that's different as well this episode is I am recording this with me driving my Logitech, and I talk about this a bit in some of the special expeditions, a little bit of repetition, but you guys that are following Yukon in sequence won't know that. So I've been using the controller for a couple of episodes. It spurred me on to persevere and try again with my Logitech 920 steering wheel and shifter setup, and with a couple of tweaks to allow my sim rig setup to have a mouse and keyboard easily accessible. I've decided that this works really well for me. Because I've been driving cars and trucks for a long time, it makes sense, but using a wheel and using a shifter and using some pedals is a lot more intuitive than using an Xbox controller. So for me, this is working well enough now. The camera bit, there's a couple of funnies about how you manage the controls. Get this into high, a bit more speed on. But generally, I am liking this experience of using a steering wheel for this game. I've been talking about this steering wheel since Michigan. So I'm now on season 5, and in season 1 I was talking about the fact that I've got a wheel and I couldn't get it working properly. Well, I've now got it working properly. And some of that is to do with having a setup for it. I've got a sim rig type kind of setup so that my steering wheel is permanently mounted. I'm going to be adding it to my desk and taking it away and getting it in the way all the time. It's basically a feature. It's pretty fuel efficient really, this thing, considering what it is, and the fact that it's got another 160 litres on its roof plus a 380 litre fuel tank, main tank, is just wonderful. I love it. In fact, I'd probably go so far as to say it is my new favourite truck in the game. And that also doesn't necessarily mean that it is the best truck at everything, because it isn't. There's it's quite a slow overall speed, for one thing. It doesn't do great in deep mud, and I know I've got chains on it, but I was in Amur and there's quite a lot of mud under snow, so you need the chains for the ice bits, but it was struggling with some of the mud. But to counter that, it's got the big crane on it, That's why the Phoenix was in the garage, is that I wanted this crane. I didn't want to buy a second crane. I think the two trucks can share this one crane. I suppose there's a slight risk that this force could make the Phoenix redundant, because it's a heavy rather than an off-road, and it's going to do better at the big high saddle work. Coming up here to get these bricks, just about coming into sight. There we go. Handbrake on. Cargo bricks onto the loading platform. Right. Weirdly, the crane controls on the wheel without the joysticks of a controller, to me, works better. I use the mouse a little bit, mainly for camera work. You're about to see one of the things about this truck that is difficult. It's really hard to use this crane to put something in the front of that sideboard bed, because the crane doesn't come back far enough. Because it tries to, if you go back, it drops down. So I try lifting that up and then tell it to come in close, and it just goes, it lowers rather than yeah, you get what I mean, right? That's about as close as I'm going to be able to make it come in that way, unless I do that, which seems a bit weird as a way to do it, but it worked. Cargo. That's the house destructed. Yeah, so the crane is a bit weird when you're using it in this mode. And it also can't take a low saddle, so it can't tow Big Blue, but it can tow like a 5-slot wide trailer if I wanted it to. I'm not going to say too much about the Amur Special Expedition, other than the fact that it's obvious I went there because this truck had to be deployed from that region. But I won't talk about it because I don't want to do more spoilers than I kind of already have. Let's see if that'll pack. Yep. So the crane. Turn it around. Let's get back down. The weirdest thing about using a wheel is that the shifter, the Logitech shifter, is a standard H pattern gearbox, but the game doesn't support H standard layout. So the shape that you can see in the bottom right of the screen is mapped funny. That doesn't bear any resemblance to any real vehicles. I don't know why they would have done that. I know it's not a fully manual gearbox, but even so, I think it would benefit the game a lot if you could have better gear choices for how you configure your controllers, considering it is a driving game at the end of the day. But anyway, Stick it in high again because I'm going to get a bit more speed down here than I would do in auto, I think. Maybe I'll try auto. Hang on. Right, hang on. Which way did I come up? So it is that way. And through. So currently I've got the big Soviet engine in this, the advanced special gearbox and the advanced heavy winch, all taken out of the S05E20 to put into this truck. So it's about 50, nearly 60,000 by the time you buy a winch, the engine and gearbox to equip this. So yeah, I took it out of the Azov because I didn't want to spend that money just yet, but these contracts give such a big influx of money, and I've still got the 2 forklifts to sell. So it's not like I'm low on cash, but the special expedition to get this did cost more than I expected, even though I started trying to do it on the cheap. And if you haven't watched it by now, and perhaps you're not going to because it was quite a long episode, it ended up as nearly a 2-hour recording, which is not something that I have particularly done before on the channel, so some people just won't have watched it. It didn't go well, the first part of it. Second part of it, you can see the success right in front of you on the screen right now, and I am happy. I need those wooden planks, so I'll be coming back for those in a minute as well. I do need those wooden planks, but they're close enough to the crafting zone that... oh, hello. That tree doesn't want to move. They're close enough to the crafting zone that I didn't feel it worth bringing a trailer up. But yeah, this type of mud is its weakness. This is what it struggles with the most. Maybe with mud tyres it's different, I don't know. I haven't tried it with mud tyres. I feel like I'm going the really long way around here, but it is what I marked on the map, so it can't be too far off. So one of the things I noticed with it is that it'll pretty much ride in with this engine and this gearbox, it'll ride in Auto 5 over a hell of a lot of stuff. So it's not one that I particularly feel a need to use high range, but I am using the HUD, as you can see, while I get used to the behaviour of the gearbox and controls and so on, using a wheel. But you know, that's got bricks on it. Admittedly, it's only 2 slots and it's not pulling a trailer, but that's just come over that icy hill in 5th gear, no problem whatsoever. So yeah, I might be gushing a little bit. I like this truck. Right, the final cargo delivery, and then it's just cabins. Subricks. Done. Stage complete. Well, not stage complete, but that phase of that contract complete. So let's just have a quick look. So factory main block needs 2 cabins, and they need to be taken to the one near the factory. Fine. Factory sewage treatment. I've already put 1 cabin on this, so that's why it says 1 of 3 done. I need to get 2 more cabins delivered to this residential area. So let's do that one first, and that takes 3, and then the reservoirs one is 2, and I've not done that at all. And that is the other residential area over near the cabin construction place. So let's do in the order of sewage treatment, reservoirs, and then the final one being main, and get all 3 of those done for cabins. I'll take this back because this crane, I think I'm going to try and use this crane rather than either forklifts or the larger crane on the Azov. Because I think the reach of this should be good enough to clip through the roof of those cabins. Just avoid the forklifts completely, I think. So it, like right there, it just gets into 5th really quickly. And off it goes. Leave that there for a minute. And I think the Taiga is just going to negotiate that terrain for those 2 wooden planks. So, reminder for anybody from the last episode, right here, I've got 1 cabin. Oh, I've got to deliver these 2 metal rolls. I forgot that. That's something that I was going to do at the end of the last episode and I ran out of time. So basically in this construction zone I need 2 more wooden planks. So I'm going to pick them up from here. So I think the way to do that is out here. Follow this. And Taiga will get through that mud easier. Bring those wooden planks back, craft up the 2nd cabin, and then we'll get them loaded up and delivered. Right. So open the storehouse. Deposit 2 planks. Craft. No, not that. Craft. 1 more cabin. So that means that my crafting ingredients are empty, but I've now got 2 cabins in stock. And then I want a cabin on the loading platform. Frame mode. Get this one loaded up. I'm doing this because it just makes sense to me to try and get one of them on this truck. Try and rotate it enough that I can get it installed. That will actually do it. So the crane, unpack, repack. And then unpack, so don't forget, because I want to be able to lift this out now. And based on comments, oh, I forgot there's a curb there. I'll just drive right over it, straight line, and not look at the fact that there's a curb right there. As soon as I hit it, I knew what it was, because I've hit it before. Episode 1 mine, so I'm going to forgive myself a little bit for forgetting that. Yeah, so based on comments, I'm going to use 3 of these cabins for this activity, but it doesn't despawn them, if I've understood the comments properly. And therefore, I can pick them up and take them somewhere else. And that seems a bit weird. It seems a little bit wrong, but that's the game. So let's go and pick up the other one. And I'm going to put some of the fuel from the Paystar back into that Kodiak, by the way, because it's useful to have fuel in multiple locations rather than it all being at the garage. But I haven't done that yet. So loading platform done. Crane. Unpacked again because I gotta just unload it basically. Might as well just back it straight over. I'm gonna need to pick up this 4-slot trailer to move the 3 of them on. I guess I only need to move 2 of them on, the other 2 both need 2 each. And then the biggest challenge is going to be, can I maneuver them to fit 3 on the loading area, given that there's 1 already in a kind of in position. And I suppose if they're reused, does that mean I'll take all 3 of these over to flooded foothills for the next bit? Would I do that? Possibly. Just want to get in as tight to that loading platform as I can. And because if this isn't easy, I might as well just get the big crane. But let's see. Crane mode. Can't really see very well, but pan the camera out a little bit, see if that helps. Just trying to move this one over. I've got room for the other one on the front. I'll try and get the one out of the Taiga and see if it'll fit in and see if it counts, or whether if they've got to be 100% in, I may just get forklift and give it a try. I'm going to move that Taiga out of the way and reposition myself. Figure needs to go off to the metal crafting place, and I won't use it at the moment to move these cabins, but I will just park it there for a minute so I can focus on trying to get the cabin delivery done. Touch of force, big crane, come on, you can do it. Let me restore that crane. I think, yeah, restore that crane. And move around the side to try and get this other cabin on the front. Currently saying 1 of 3 delivered, so I assume they need to be completely inside. It's inside to me, so it's just that one around the side, the other side there that's not. So from here, can I manipulate them, or should I just be pushing them in with a crane? That's just pushed one out again. So they need to be completely inside. Okay, fine. In that case, this is a learning experience for me, people. Sorry, I'm just trying to work out how to do this. I don't want that to attach. I just want to manipulate my camera. So down, in, rotate, and push. So that's 2 in, and then restore the crane, handbrake off, whack it into reverse, position myself to be able to push that one in on this side. But maybe the forklift, even if all it's doing is pushing them around on the platform, would be a better way to do it. Although pretty much everybody says the forklifts are useless. If I can push this one in, it might say stage complete. There we go, cutscene. Stage complete. Now it wants the tank. But I want to get all 3 factory tasks to the same state. So now I want to go crane mode, pull that in, got that bug again. Gonna have to swap into another truck and then swap back. Sorry, I'm trying to turn the camera away. Flipping the rope through the roof is also borderline for me in terms of, am I happy with that? But at the end of the day, The devs coded it. And it is already hard mode without enforcing rules on myself that the devs didn't even put there. And I'll do enough of that as it is. So when comments tell me that this is the easy way to do it, I am inclined to say thank you very much for the information. I'm doing it that way then. That should pack. And then I've got to get another one. So I'll end up taking all three of them. I think I'll end up taking all three of them to flooded foothills if they're reusable like this, or it may be just easier to craft 3 more over there if it's the same type of deal. I'm just gonna still the crane, and I kind of need a trailer to put them on anyway, so don't worry about getting one out until I've got a trailer to put it on. And I'm going to use that red ramped flatbed. And which one did I say I was going to do next? Let me just get a... I'm not going to do anything pretty with this. I'm just going to haul it backwards. No point trying to turn it round. It's already facing the right way. I just need it in here in a position where I can reach it. Yeah, they're a bit of a pain, and I do keep hitting the controls on this. A bit of a pain to shift. Maybe I'm a bit far away for this one. Azov, get the big crane. Stop messing around. Just get the big crane. It's going to be quicker in the long run. I would assume that the devs intended this behaviour to despawn the cabins. I think somebody said in a comment that it originally did that, and then the devs kind of relented and said, nah, that's too much work, which is unlike our devs. So far, this episode is looking like a whole lot of time lapse of me messing with cranes. Unpack, repack. Done. 2 lots done. So the next one, I think, was reservoirs, and that is delivery to this place, and it's only the 2 needed. Let's get that done. A bit painful, but plenty of opportunity for time lapse, so hopefully it won't be too painful to watch. I'm not worried about fuel because I've got 160 litres in my reef. Might take the Kodiak down to the garage, fill up and come back again. See what I mean though? That type of mud, it just sits there spinning. quite often. So I'm going to be doing the logging on this map before I move to flooded foothills and en masse. Because why wouldn't I do that while I've got fuel here? That's why I brought the big fuel here rather than taking it straight to flooded foothills. There's enough to do here to warrant some supplies. What's the entrance to this place then? Can't really tell. That's a snowbank, so that doesn't look like an entrance. Maybe is it around there and in? Or could I go over the snowbank? I'm gonna try the snow. I'm gonna try the snowbank rather than going around. Can't quite tell. Is that tyre tracks going in there? I think it is actually. I think it is. I ain't messing with no gate, so I'm going to make my own gate, mate. Unpack the cargo. Detach the trailer. And then I think I'll maneuver myself a bit to be on the other side. Let's take out fuel and then rain mode and try and get this one in first. And try and get the other one next to it and then push them both in properly. Pleased that there was a cutscene for the construction part of doing the phase. That's nice to see. I might want to move to the other side to push this one. Yeah, we just move. This is definitely a painful way to do it. Done. Stage complete. Now I've got to get the damn things out again. You guys have done all this, haven't you? This is more painful than I expected. do this once more. I had hoped to finish all 3 factories today, but I hadn't bargained on this taking quite so long. First time I've ever done this. I haven't got to the point of doing this sort of thing in my campaign mode save yet. So this is all new to me, guys. I'm probably not going to be able to get that out because even though there's nothing over it, it seems to act as if there's a hard roof. Back to cargo. Store the crate. Handbrake off. Gotta attach the trailer, pack it, and then head down to the next one is obviously going to be main block. Factory, main block. 2 cabins. Now, I get what they were trying to do, because what they tried to do is introduce a new type of vehicle, forklift, and then put a roof over the top of the loading zone to encourage and force people to use the forklift. But I just believe, and I think comments would agree with me, that they implemented the forklift so badly that people feel there's no choice but to do it this way. Which is a real shame, because those forklifts could be very good fun if they'd have been done properly. But anyway, now we're out of here. Which way should we go? Let's just back her up a bit. Try and follow that route. We can get this trailer to turn the corner. I might end up, I'm not sure personally, for me with this crane, I'm not sure reusing cabins is worth it. I'll have a look on the other map and see how I feel. See how many have got to be delivered. If it's the same thing, then maybe I will, but at the moment, if I do this way, I'm going to have a big crane there so that I can easily just maneuver them in and out and not worry about being able to reach them. Because I really wanted to complete factory, all 3 of them, this episode. But looking at the length of this recording, it's going to be a struggle. Well, a struggle for editor outlay. Not a problem for driver outlay, I can keep going all day. And I wouldn't even have attempted that with the little blue crane. That would have been a nightmare with a little blue crane. This Tatra crane made it possible. It's just slow, and part of that is me on the controls being a bit clumsy. Hitting B and escaping out of crane mode when I'm meant to hit A to unconnect. That kind of thing. And what's my fuel situation? Maybe I'll slurp a little bit out of maybe the Ford. I nearly took the Ford to a Muir, but I know I've got more stuff to do for the Ford in Blooded Foothills. Let's see if there's anybody here I can take some fuel out of. Oh, there's plenty in that roof, isn't there? Let's jump into the Ford. Refuel. My roof into Action Force. Yeah, that's plenty. That keeps me going for a bit. Right, let's get this delivered. At least the cabins will be done. So yeah, pulling up over this hill in 5th gear also. No, not hunting for gears. 2 cabins, including one of them on a trailer. Pretty good. I like it. I see a gate there. Do you see a gate there? I thought you did. Handbrake. Unpack. Crane mode. Legs down. Oh, yeah, okay. Silly. Force it out, that'll do. I could just keep forgetting that the crane unpacks to the right side of the vehicle. So can I get that to do that and then pick it up? And then what I want to try and do is swing this one all the way around the front. And if I did have to do loads of these, I might get the hang of it. And that's as far as my crane can rotate. Don't have to take the crane around. They don't rotate 360. Take the crane around, try and get that one in. Pretty decent height on the crane. There we go. Bit of fiddly. And it's full dark. The cutscene. Stage complete. 2 large pipes. Now, what's my time like? Engine off. I'm not going to touch those cabins now. I won't collect them now. What's my time like? I'm tempted, but I would cause myself some trouble. So I think that is as much as I'm going to manage on this episode. So I will wrap this one here. Bit disappointing because I wanted to get all 3 factory contracts finished in this episode, but I didn't count on cabins taking me that long. Did these 2, I loaded them fairly quickly, I think, in comparison. So I got quicker as I went through, but it's a learning process, and I think that was too slow. The start of the next episode will be us delivering the 2 metal rolls on the Tega, picking up 2 large pipes, delivering those, making sure I've got 500 fuel back in the semi-trailer, delivering that, and then sticking a high saddle on this truck and going and getting the 2 big oil tanks on the trailer up near the warehouse. And that's the delivery that I'm most looking forward to, but I'm not going to try and rush that and fit it into this episode. It just doesn't work. So I will leave this one here and do it properly in the next episode, and then we can maybe even start about thinking about logging. If I optimistically manage to get through that content fairly quickly, then maybe it'll be time to think about logging. But in the meantime, I'm going to wrap this episode here. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the episode. It wasn't too painful with me doing cabins, but I hope to see you in the next one. In the meantime, thanks and goodbye.